Welcome, folks. Fred Gleek here again. But as you notice, Bill, with something a little bit different, people have been bitching about the fact that our podcast, they don't quite understand it. Let me explain this to everybody listening. For those of you who aren't DeWeese members, which you should be, by the way, DeWeeseMembers.com, and a member of our inner core group, you would understand that this podcast is all about kind of reviewing what Bill's numbers were for the week. This is not about creating world-class sound. This is about creating world-class marketing. Bill, can you comment?
It's about adjusting your expectations. Yeah, understand what the purpose of this is, and that's we're giving you information that's useful.
Yes. Now, the fact that I have now upgraded to a wonderful Blue Snowball mic, which is, by the way, $50, and I went online, by the way, Bill, because Kyle, my stepson, is using the gear that I bought, the Starlight 2i2, and with that system. So instead, I am plugging directly from this this microphone directly into my USB port.
I like it better.
You do?
Yeah, it makes you sound a little closer, a little warmer.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for those of you who are hating on me because of my lack of vocal sound quality, so there.
Screw you! I've got my snowballs now.
Exactly.
Or a Blue Yeti, or whatever it is.
No, it's not the Yeti. The Yeti is
okay.
The upgrade from this. The Yeti is like $100. This is $50 for this mic. So you guys, if you go, and by the way, I went on and Googled best mic for the dollar. And this guy who's got a bunch of subscribers, A-B'd them all and said, this one really is, for the dollars, a great mic. So
we need to get you a pop screen, though. That's the only thing it needs.
Oh, no. I've decided that because I'm already a father, a pop screen is unnecessary. Do I mess up?
Oh, no, it's just your P's are, sometimes if you get too close to it, your P's are exploding. But other than that, it sounds fine.
Okay, sounds good. So that's my next piece of gear, which I heard is about $7.99 on Amazon. I'll have to get that.
Is that what? As in $7.99?
Yes, $7.99.
Did I tell you I got a USB mic too?
What'd you get?
I got an Apogee mic. It's just called the Apogee mic. Yeah, and I'm going to use it for doing remote stuff when I have to be on the road.
Yeah, and so you'll have to do us a favor and have somebody use your iPhone and do some recording of you using your Apogee and then commenting on it.
Yeah, I tell you what, something I've thought about. Of course, I think about a lot of stuff. Actually implementing, executing. That's the trick. I'd love to swap it out and use it in my studio for like a week or a month and not tell anybody, and tweak all my settings to get essentially the same sound, just to show that your mic doesn't have as much to do with it as you think.
My suggestion is September 1st as a start date for 30 days.
It's a matter of, can I get it set up to sound exactly like what I'm doing now, so that I can, because when clients come back for pickups and stuff, I have to make it match.
True, but that would be a challenge, is between now and September 1st, you try and figure all those things out, actually record yourself doing all those things to make the setup right, and then see. It'd be great, if you have the time, be a great case study.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, yeah,
okay,
I've been thinking about it. So
excellent. Well, I'm glad we got started with this, and now for all you haters, you can't hate me because of my mic. You can pick something else. I like it. I don't mind haters. I just prefer haters that have actual, some kind of logic behind their argument. But God, don't confuse me with the facts. So tell me about your week. How was Monday?
Well, it was good. Well, first of all, we didn't talk last week, so let me just give you. Hold on a second. Mallory's calling in. She may have important info for us. Let's bring her into the conversation. Mal, you there?
Mm-hmm.
Fred, you still there? Oh, I just hung up on Fred. Hold on a second. Fred?
Yes.
I'm not doing this right. I either have you on or I'm putting you on hold. I'm going to hang up on Mallory here real quick.
Okay.
And bring you back in. And then
you said it while I was on hold, by the way.
Yeah, I did it wrong. That was a problem. I don't even think Mallory knows we're recording, but I thought she could just go ahead and give us a...
yeah, you can just edit this. Make it all work. Here. Clean it up in post, Bill.
Yeah, well... this is the podcast. We don't clean this up.
Oh, here's Mallory. Hey, okay. There she is.
Hey, you're live, Mal.
I hung up on too.
Yeah, I hung up on everybody.
Wait, can you now do this podcast with all three of us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay, excellent. All right, let's do it. Meet Mallory, my lovely assistant / daughter, and voice talent. She's a very successful voice talent on her own.
I did all right this week.
Did you do all right this week?
Yeah, what were your numbers?
Oh, I had a couple jobs. I did 725 maybe.
Not bad.
Well, that's with no marketing, no auditions. Keep in mind.
That's just recurring.
That's just clients that come to her and say, "Will you do this?"
Wow. It's a rough life. She gets paid by her old man, and she makes money on the side.
Double
Look at that.
dipping. It's a good. It's a good life.
Sounds good to me. So what do we need now? By the way,
numbers?
Mallory, you may notice I have a new mic.
I did. I noticed you're in a new setup.
Now this is kind of fancy. You can watch the podcast later and see.
Yeah.
I talked all about it. Earlier.
Okay. Yeah. Then I won't ask.
So then, Mallory, you probably have the numbers for. I mean, we need last week and this week, I guess.
Oh yeah. I got both. All right.
Good.
You want to start with last week?
Yeah. Let's
Sure.
go ahead and
Do that.
All right. Let's see here. Total voiceover 5,678.
$5,678. And if Mallory is giving us the numbers, we know they are accurate.
To the dollar, to the cent with her.
Yeah.
I got all the numbers here.
Okay, so I don't know if we really need to review every single day, but compare that to this week, Mal. What was it? What's the total so far? We're now speaking on Friday afternoon. So what do you have so far for this week?
Yeah, this week we are at 5,032.
So still over $5,000.
Yeah. You know what's weird? And we kind of found this last week too, I guess. Now that I'm looking over the days. But we have crazy Mondays and we have crazy Fridays.
Yep.
And that seems to be consistent across the board. And then really slow Wednesday this week and Tuesday. So
does that mean you try and load Bill up with auditions on those days, Tuesday and Wednesday?
Yeah, I think that's just catch-up day for him. I mean, he's trying to catch up on all the auditions that he missed. And then maybe that's why. Well, no, it's not really why Thursdays and Fridays are busy. I just think it's stuff from the following week usually is what we're getting loaded on.
I think on Mondays there's
next week.
There's
It'll be
stuff
crazy auditions he did this week.
Well, and then over the weekend, some stuff will pile up with companies that it'll all flood in on Monday, and then on Thursday they'll realize there's stuff they needed to get done they didn't get done, and so then Fridays kind of become crazy. I think it's worth noting also that there's a $600 job that I have that hasn't thought we were going to record it today but hasn't.
Well, yeah, we're still waiting for confirmation from the client.
Okay.
So they wanted to hold the time. And then we also have another $600 session for next week, commercials. So that's something totally different.
Hey, Bill, since Mallory's here, let me ask her this question, which a lot of people who follow the podcast are probably curious about. Since you've adopted this new policy to try and drop some of the older, less profitable clients, has the average amount of dollars per job gone up as a result, Mel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, lately we've been doing I would say it's like an average of $300 to $400.
As opposed to before, which was?
150.
Okay. Got it. So substantially different kind of business model since you guys have started really targeting the higher end.
Well, right. I think the fact that we're not afraid or I'm pushing him to quote him.
There's a lot of that. Because I'll talk to Mallory.
Explain. That's interesting.
We have we have good conversations. Like a job will come in, or somebody wants a quote, and so I like to talk to Mallory because Mallory, she likes to push me, because sometimes it's harder for us sometimes to ask for it than it is for somebody else, and I'll say I'm thinking I think it's probably about a $350 job. And then Mallory might say, no, that's like a $400 to $500 job. I mean, that's the conversation. Am I pretty close, Mel?
Yeah, that's definitely it. And I think part of that is just because I can hear the other side of that conversation and playing in my head. Like when we had last week where he's like, I just got to start charging more. And okay, so let's just do it. Let's just start charging more.
It's hard to do, though.
It is. And I find that with my own work, too. When you're speaking for yourself, it almost feels like, I'm afraid. I don't want to push the envelope too much. And so it's kind of nice to have somebody that's pushing you.
I have a suggestion. I think we need to create a sign and put it in Bill's whisper room that said, remember, you're Bill DeWeese.
Oh, yeah.
I had a friend tell me something to the effect once. He said, and I won't quote him exactly. He said, don't forget, you're Bill effing DeWeese.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the idea is that, you're probably worth more than what you think.
But you do
or
have to
what
be
you
willing to
feel.
walk away. You have to know that there's a chance, and maybe a good chance, that they'll say no. And if that, you got to be okay with that, and not go back with your tail between your legs and say, no, I can do it for, you got to be okay with that to walk away.
Yep.
Yeah, and not to say there aren't ways to kind of massage that a little bit, because there's definitely ways. I mean, if you're like, oh yeah, well, I see your offer. Oh, that's in bulk. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can work out a new deal. I mean, you don't have to trash the whole thing, but you do have to come across as,
Or let's say I say 400, and they say, well, our budget's really only 300, and so then I say, well, how flexible are you on time? So I try to at least let them know, or I want them to give me something in return, so they feel that it's more equitable.
I have a suggestion, Mel.
Yeah.
Next time you have one of those conversations, record it, not with the client side, but just your side. And then we could put in their response in like written form so that we're not betraying any confidence. But it might be kind of cool to see how that discussion goes back and forth between you and a client.
Yeah, well, most of the time it is over email. Rarely am I talking to anybody on the phone. It happens once in a blue moon.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for a second. So for people who are just getting started in the business, or maybe a little bit further along, you're saying that your actual vocal, I mean, how often does a phone call occur with a client?
I don't even know if you remember the last client I talked to. I mean, Bill talked to somebody yesterday. We talked to a client, he did yesterday, that called about a price. But this particular client rarely calls. Usually it's just an email.
So, Bill, how many conversations do you have with clients that aren't sales calls? Like that?
Probably not more than one or two a week. I mean, because I'll get calls from people who find me, and they'll leave a message. Hi, this is such and such agency, and we were hoping to get a quote on a project. If that's the case, I'll call them right back.
Got it. And so you'll be the one. And do you, in those cases, how often do you get them on the phone versus leaving a voicemail?
More often than not, I get them on the phone. And if I do leave a voicemail, they call me back because they initiated the conversation. They want to talk to me.
Yeah, they want to have the actual phone call in real time.
Right, and I just did a session, as a matter of fact, for a brand new client today in Atlanta. It was an agency that they called me a few nights ago, and I immediately called them back. Yeah, one of those deals. This is, no matter how big a big shot you are, or how small a small fry starting out. I mean, when somebody calls, call them back right away. Oh yeah.
If they email and you haven't had a conversation with them before, you better email them right back too.
Yeah, I think people don't understand how good both of you are at doing this. And Bill, a lot of people don't know because they may not have heard this. And by the way, right after this call, I've got some marketing concepts that I want to run by you. But here's the deal. I think that people don't understand that you are at your core. I mean, you used to do door-to-door sales. Not that you loved it.
No,
but I mean, this is your, if you want to be a voiceover animal in terms of production and revenue, you have to go after it. You can't And
I'm the most, I did this in college, by the way. I mean, it's not how I did my, it's not my career, but the point is I didn't want to, and it scared me to death, but it was one of those things I realized I needed to learn, and it would help me put me through college. And so, I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that going through the numbers, sequentially is always fun, but I think this is much more insightful for people. And in fact, depending on Mallory's schedule going forward in the future, I like the idea of her being on these just because I think it gives us both the talent and the accounting billing person, but also, this business pretty well too. So, it's not a bad idea to have you on.
Hey, I'm all about it. We were just talking about how long I've been working for him. It's almost 8 years.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
A long time.
Yeah, it is.
That is a long time. Yeah.
I just a little bit of experience. A little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, and by the way, we should promote the program you did, which is called, what's the name of it again? VO Office
Success. Yeah.
VOofficeSuccess.com. VOofficeSuccess.com. Mallory goes through a lot of the things that she does for Bill that a lot of you, if you're listening or watching, might do this on your own, but eventually when you hire someone, it'd be good to do.
Run your office for maximum profit.
That's right.
There you go. So what else should we talk about? I mean, all of this other stuff is lovely.
I mean, we could go through a play-by-play of the week. I don't think you want to hear all that. I mean,
I don't think we want to do that.
No,
What about
no.
words of wisdom, things, insights that you've gained? Now, one of the
Return your
things
phone
that people,
calls.
yeah, return your phone. The other thing is, you know what? I think that it bears. I know it's kind of not a very happy thing, but sometimes you got to do your business when things are happening in the family, and maybe
yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I posted something to our membership group about this today. It's been a hard time in that. Well, my mom's brother, my uncle, it's like her little brother, only brother. He was just diagnosed with brain cancer, and hospice has come in, so he's not expected to live much longer. But so I went. My mom lives in Ohio by herself, and my dad passed away like 30 years ago. So I drove over and picked her up and brought her back here. Now we have her set up living with us for right now. And now we're planning, most likely I'll be traveling with her to Idaho, where her brother is at. So that's coming up. So, there's a lot of things we're not sure of right now, but when you're self-employed, you just have to learn to kind of balance these things. And that's one of the reasons I bought the USB mic, so that I would have the capabilities of recording in an emergency situation on the road. So that's, that's a big thing that we're dealing with right now.
So now when you do go on the road like that, Mallory will probably obviously be staying back in Illinois and will be communicating with you via Skype, I would imagine, right, Mal?
Yeah, Skype and email. And really, I think it's important to note, like, when you do things, when things like this happens, or let's say you take a vacation and you want to do some minimal recording. I mean, there's a way to prioritize the things that have to be done and the things that don't have to be done right away. So it's just kind of getting your office straight before something like that would happen, so that yes, recording has to happen. I need to respond to these clients. These people can be put on hold. Invoicing can be put on hold. That sort of thing.
Well, and there you have it. I think that the addition of Mallory as our regular contestant on the show, folks, will make it for a much better. I mean, if Pat Sajak was alone without Vanna, I mean, it just wouldn't be Will Fortune. Right. And so, frankly, I think this is the way to go. So, everyone, thank you very much for listening. Fred Gleek with Bill DeWeese and Mallory Hanford.
Thanks, Fred.
Later.